This is the moment when the supposedly dead killer comes back to life for one last scare.
Welcome to the Last Scare podcast. I'm Jayla.
I'm Blake. I was like, oh, no cue. Okay, cool.
And I'm Sabrina.
Pre-recorded. I'll cut it nice.
I think you should leave it. It's funny.
I'm just gonna cut to like 3 blank faces all at the same time.
Alright, that's fine.
It's all natural.
Welcome
It's
to
all
the-
natural. People know we're normal people in that podcast.
Jeez.
Okay, alright, we're good. Well, welcome to the Last Scare podcast. I'm Jayla.
I'm Blake.
I'm Sabrina.
And I am your new permanent special guest, Cam.
Yay!
That's right.
Fanfare.
I'm here to stay.
I mean, we teased it last week, but now he's here permanently.
Mm-hmm.
Permanent special guest. Like Steve from Stranger Things. He was supposed to be dead.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
and
like, he
then
wasn't
got
supposed to be around.
promoted
It's
too.
all
Fan
over.
favorite.
Or Daryl on The Walking Dead.
Or Daryl from The Walking Dead.
Or Aaron Paul in Breaking Bad. He was supposed to be killed off in the first season.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, fun fact. Well, you're not killed off in the first season, you're stuck.
Yeah, and then
I
you
am
easily became the fan favorite.
Yes.
So what a perfect episode to be like the first, like your first permanent place.
I agree. It's been a big year for horror, and as a relatively new horror fan, it's been a huge year for me. I've seen it all. I've seen all the horror movies, and
Yeah.
I have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Good and bad.
Okay, so for our tier list, let's define our terms. S is, supreme. S is, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. A is, this movie was great. This was absolutely a good movie. B is like, this is passable. This is a fine movie. C is kind of, it's whatever.
It's like so kind of.
Yeah, D is like, ugh, I did not enjoy this. And then F is,
Fuck this movie.
F is fuck this movie.
Starting off, we actually do have, we're going to go in reverse chronological order for everyone that's watching. So that means we're starting off with Halloween Ends, and we have someone that is a huge Michael lover, Michael fan, Halloween fan, whatever you want to call it. Blake, take us away. What do you think about Halloween Ends?
I mean, first of all, we all like Halloween, okay? We all want to see Michael Myers do his thing. We all want
Oh
to
my
see
God.
the franchise.
That gives me like the meme. I think we
Prosper.
all like him.
We do all like him.
We
that
do.
being
It's
said,
true.
we do not all like this movie. Me and Sabrina are average Halloween Kills enjoyers, which we have gotten flack for over the past year, but I'll defend it.
I will. No.
it's a
I'm
movie.
gonna be brave. I'm a stan of that movie. I don't care. I do not care. I will defend that movie. I don't care. I'm not gonna say
I will
average
defend
enjoyer.
most of
I
it.
literally love that movie.
It's a good movie. Ends is not. I do not think Ends was a good movie. It had a lot of interesting ideas and concepts, and I don't think any of them were really executed well. And when like one concept would start to go in a cool direction, they dropped it and moved on to the next one, which
I feel like that's a lot of what we agreed on. Was like a lot of the
Yeah.
ideas were great, but the execution.
we walked out of that, spoiler alert by the way, but we walked out of that movie just making the joke of Michael with the knife like all crusty and
Or
slow.
Or the slowly. I hope you find love.
Oh, I hope you find love, son. That movie
That alone
was
made it. That made the movie.
That movie was a fever dream, and I
Yes.
think if they just if they wanted to commit to Michael needs to kill to kind of build that essence back up, we would have been good. We would have been cruising. If his first kill was sloppy, even let the person get away. That would have been cool. But they did Corey. I think this movie actually would have landed better with fans if it wasn't the last one. Like if they just this was our second to last or third to last movie. We took a risk. It didn't really work. We're moving on. But you ended the whole franchise on this note. Introduced Corey, told his story, killed him before the final battle. So
Yeah.
choices were made.
I
And
think the thing was like the most was like, is the fact that they kind of like made it a little bit of a romance in Halloween. That's literally like the ultimate slasher movie. So I was like, I actually like I think multiple times I was like, what movie are we in? Because I don't think this is supposed like I really like was fully convinced for half the movie that somebody like somehow switched like the tape last minute before this came out because there was literally like a romance for most of the time and I was just like, what movie are we watching?
they couldn't even commit to how they wanted to kill Corey off. They had him get shot off the stairs, which amazing. That was a great scene. And then Michael just shows up out of nowhere, like, "Hey, Laurie, you don't know how to get it done," and snapped
How
his
do you
neck. I was
feel
like, "Okay."
about Corey maybe being sort of the new iteration of evil? Because if Michael Myers is supposed to be like just pure evil, and he does have to get killed off eventually, how do you feel about Corey? The idea of maybe him not having died, and they had done like Michael passed the torch to him instead.
That's what I thought they were gonna do. I really did. And like when halfway through, when they kind of, it's like that seemed like where they were leaning towards, and then they, like I said, like good that could have been a good idea, and then they didn't execute the rest
How
of it
you
that
execute that well is you don't put a face to the next Michael Myers or the next evil. You kill Corey or Michael, whatever. You kill Michael and you end it with Laurie's amazing line, by the way, "Evil doesn't die, it just changes shape."
Oh,
And you
I
just show
love
a bunch
that.
of people.
Like I said,
You
like
just
that
show a
role
bunch
was
of
so
people on
good.
Halloween.
Like
It could be anybody.
Right. So I liked it a bit more than you guys did. I see it for its flaws, and I think that it would have been really interesting if we saw Corey from the beginning, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
However, I feel like the ideas that it's trying to present are really interesting, and I admire that. I really love the ending, how it mirrored the original ending, but without the breathing, to know that like she can finally move on from Michael. How like they actually like put it into him, which was really nice. How dedicated they were to that, to like seeing him get through that wood chipper and seeing Laurie finally like win over that was really interesting. The idea, I wish they just really would have went harder on the idea that evil doesn't die; it changes shape with Corey. Like I said, introducing Corey in the third movie was probably their biggest downfall for me.
Yeah. They took the movie down a Joker route, like the movie Joker, like, oh, this guy just gets so beat down he becomes a product of
evil
society or whatever.
Yeah, because society did that to him and outcasted him.
And it just kind of shows Corey becoming how we get serial killers. They get bullied, they get abused, they get neglected by their parents, shit like that. But if you really wanted to be like, no, Michael's evil was literally passed on to him, is some nice, happy-go-lucky guy looks at Michael, becomes a murderer out of nowhere. Because that's essentially what happened to Michael as a kid. Just one day he killed his sister. Like, that was the whole creepy point of him.
Yeah.
So
but like again, when he picked up Corey and like when he went down the sewer and like like actually choked him, like you saw the eye thing and it's like okay, like looked like he gave him his powers or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
I'm like,
yeah.
I see what they're trying to do.
But then again, like that could have been cool, but that was another idea that just wasn't executed. Like they went nowhere, so it's just like, what was the point of that?
Right. They're juggling a lot. It would have been really a lot better if they simplified it and kind of made it more focused on, you know how like the first one was Laurie's story, the second was a town story, the third one's evil story. It's kind of like the idea I guess they're trying to go for.
See, like I wouldn't even say that. I think it was just more about Laurie's niece and Corey more than anything else. Because like Michael was barely in it till more deep into the movie. Like I
That's
said,
true, but you could see Corey as evil, essentially.
Yeah, but again, like I said, yes, but at the same time, it was more like the whole society thing because it was just like a romance where it's like, oh, I'm bad for you, I can't be with you, but she's like, I don't care. Like she literally,
That was weird.
because that's not her. She would have not done that. Like,
yeah, in general, I think that like they could have done like the Laurie, the town, evil if it was more refined in the end. I like the ideas they're presenting. For me, I just felt so satisfied at seeing a horror saga end with such a definitive ending. They killed Michael. Laurie can move on. Like that was something that was really great for me, really satisfying for me. The end fight between him and Laurie is really satisfying for me. the overall movie could have given more, but I was really happy with the overall product.
No, I think all that was great. Like, I think seeing that at the end, I was like, okay. It was like, that made everything else that I did not like worth it. Because, like, we got that. That was, like, okay, like, satisfying. It wasn't perfect, but it was satisfying. Because, like, towards the middle of this, when they're, just everything was, like, all over the place, I was like, where are they going to go with this? Like, how are they going to end this? And, like, obviously, they ended it the way they did, and it was satisfying, but like I said, I think what kind of threw me off too, and I don't know if anybody else feels this way, is like the time jump, because like we missed so much time in between from the last one and this one. What was like 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So that was also why Allison was acting weird to me, because I was like, I don't know why she would, and like same thing with Lori. Like I understand, like her daughter literally got murdered at the end, and like you don't see anything with that.
I don't even like the ending of Halloween Kills. I don't like the choice to kill Judy Greer. She was just kind of like there staring out a window, and they killed her.
Yeah.
And I was all right. I would have liked them to continue on how this was all one night and just pick up right from there. But
that would have been like, I think that would have probably like landed a little bit better. But that's where it's like when you time skip and there's so much gaps in between, you're like, all right, what happened in those 5 years? And like, because it feels like for most of the time it felt like Lori and Allison were both just like acting very off for most of it. And like, I don't know, I think also something that annoyed me was like every time they went to like Lori, it was just like she would literally, finally ready to move on a little bit with her life with her granddaughter, and like people would still like throw things back in her face, and I'm like, all right, chill. Like they were so mean to her for no reason. Like it wasn't because they still want someone to blame, and it's like, but people are like, oh, you should have ended it like you saw what happened. Like he killed so many people during the riot. You saw all these people. Well, they all grouped up, and like half of them still died anyway, so it didn't matter. I don't know. They kept pointing the finger to her more, and it bothered me.
So overall, where would we put this on the tier list?
I put C, I think.
C? It was like a B for me. It was like it's the first one on my B.
No, I want to put it B, I think. I think thinking about in the moment and like how it made me feel in the moment, how excited I was seeing Lori and Michael fight that last bit, and how much how much I was like just invested in that. Even though it took a while to get there, that last bit, that last like final showdown, and I love Jamie Lee Curtis, and being able to see her send off Lori in such a like really like triumphant way. I want to put it in B, I think.
I would say D. Because the ending.
Me and Sabrina have it in the same tier.
Oh boy.
Okay, so we got 2 Ds, 2 Bs. So overall that's a C.
Up next, though, is Terrifier 2. Came out October 6th. And Cam, what do you love about Terrifier 2?
I love that we have a fun new horror icon. We have our classic slashers. You got your Michaels, your Jasons, Freddys.
Correct.
Those are all good and fun. But we've had those same guys for decades now. Art the Clown, we've had for a few years, but I think with Terrifier 1, he wasn't what he is now, and what I think he's going to be going forward. I think he's going to be our next big slasher. That movie sort of like pushed some boundaries a bit as far as
that's one way to put it.
What people are used to seeing on screen, with how brutal the kills in that movie were, and with how it was made on such a tight budget in such an independent way. I just think that Art the Clown has a lot to give in future movies going forward, and this one actually has a story, and it sets itself up for the future stories. And as disturbing as we expected the movie to be, because we kind of knew about like the worst kill in it beforehand, we had that spoiled for us, but so we were expecting this to be really I'm sorry.
Oh my god. We knew. We were like, everyone was saying that it crossed a boundary that the first one set, that like it was worse than the first Terrifier. So me and Cam were like,
we thought it was just going to be really kind of disturbing and dark, but the tone of the movie is just too fun. It's too goofy.
It's grindhouse. It's like 70s, 80s slasher schlock.
Yeah.
Killer Clown.
And like the gore was reminding me more of like an 80s cheesy gore, more than like we're trying to convince you that this is realistic right now. It was more camp. It was more fun. It was more like
I think the hacksaw scene is worse than the
Yeah.
bedroom scene.
Absolutely.
I think so. I mean, unless I think about just
And
scalp, you know.
I was gonna say a lot of people don't love the scalping.
if we think about terms of what the characters had to go through, then yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely
But
that
if
might
we
be worse.
think about like the way they executed it,
I think the second one is worse because the longer it went on. Because it went on for longer.
We watched this movie on Halloween, and during the bedroom scene, Sabrina's reactions in the other room, my mom's like, "Are you okay?" Just because she's like, "Oh my god, he came back into the room. Stop."
I was like, all right, we get it. Like, all right, like, and then he came back, and I was like, come on,
He came
no.
back with the bleach and salt.
Oh God, it just because
He's
it kept.
just,
It was one of those scenes that just kept going. And I was like, all right, I get it. Like,
Things could have grabbed.
he's like, "It's just a prank, bro."
The prank.
It's just a prank.
Honestly, pause just for a moment. I really, really, really want to take some time to just show some appreciation to the little bit they had after the credits that like just showed the making of and showed the crew and like what it took to go into what it took to make the movie, and I love that.
Oh, actually, speaking of which, I get my steelbook for it tomorrow. Just remembered
I'm
that.
so jealous. What's the steelbook like?
And I wanted in the video because I'm sure it'll change over time, but as of this day, Terrifier 2 is my favorite horror movie. I have seen it of all time as of today. Not necessarily because I think it's the best. I'm not saying it's the best. Horror is my favorite genre, and I want to get into all that, and to see like such a low budget, people hate the first movie like for the most part. And then this one comes out and it becomes such a milestone. Yeah. Art is a mainstream killer now, and it's phenomenal success. Yeah. I'm like, I just love everything that went into this movie. So it's
such an underdog story. Like I did not like the first one. I'm sorry. It really just wasn't. I wanted to like it.
In that behind the scenes thing, the director's like, look, the first one was a sizzle reel for Art the Clown. It wasn't like supposed to be anything. And he's like, this movie's where we're hoping to get people on board. So
this movie sold me. I am one that will always admit that I was wrong. I was completely wrong about Terrifier. I love Art the Clown now. I love what Terrifier 2 did. And it was such a big moment for indie horror. Any movies in general, the kind of money it made. Are you kidding me? I'm so happy for them. All my
insane.
love.
And the fact that we haven't mentioned our new final girl in Sienna, one of the better ones,
great.
Who's getting a lot of love, and we didn't mention her at all.
Yeah.
Long live Sienna.
Long live Sienna. Absolutely.
We'll see. she won the battle, but the war still goes on.
I feel like I might have to. I'm gonna be honest. I think I might have to watch it again.
You have to watch what?
What's her name?
I think I gotta watch it again because I think you hyped her up a little bit. I'm sorry.
Sienna?
Yeah.
Really?
She was like a badass.
No, I thought she was a badass,
was
but
cool.
there was like towards the end, I was like, because you made it seem like she was like this like amazing final girl, and like she was great.
She is.
Some of it was like, okay, I don't know. I literally was like trying to see because you kept typing her up for weeks, and I was like, yeah, she was great, but it was like, I don't think she's the best final girl. Is what I'm trying to say. But you hyped her up. I didn't say
she's the best.
No, but you hyped her up like she's like one of the best, and I was like, yeah, she was good, but I
think she's one of the best. Yeah, I'd put her up there with Lori and Sydney and Nancy and everybody.
She makes me think of Heather from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh yeah.
Again, I might have to just watch it. I don't know. Maybe because I was like when I was like half asleep. Maybe.
Yeah. To be fair, by the end, by the whole like third act, you were like.
So I was like, I don't know, but just like most of it, but like most of the time, like I liked that it had a story, but I don't know. Some of it was like, I don't know. When you explained it to me, it sounded a little bit better than when I was watching it. That's all I'm gonna say.
To be fair, the director did say he doesn't want to do another 2.5 hour long Terrifier movie.
No, I don't even think it's because it was too long or anything. It was just more like, I don't know. You tell me stuff about the movie, and I was like, oh wow. And then like when it came out, I was like, okay.
They set some great foundation.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. Because like you talked about like the mom scene, and like it was cute, but it wasn't like you're like, oh my god, it's such a beautiful moment. I was like, the mom's still a bitch. Like, so
she went a little overboard sometimes.
She was a bitch, man.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I love you, Sabrina.
Sabrina just said she deserved those mashed potatoes.
She deserved the mashed potatoes.
You got her.
We hate the mom here.
For a reason. And like again, like I felt bad because like I said, I did really enjoy it. I would definitely say it's one of my favorites. But like I don't know, I think I might just have to like run it through a little more because I was like a little sleepy towards the end. But like I don't know. But also that one that was like a lot. That was like I thought the first one was a lot, but I think that was a little more a lot because it was longer and there's just like
Valid.
and it just kept going.
The worst thing that happened during our watch of that movie is Sabrina fell asleep like right when the credits started and then woke up at the end of the end credit scene. So the first thing she sees is Victoria just licking Art's head and she was like,
I was like,
what?
I was like, what did I was like, hello? Good morning? Like, what?
Just a few episodes.
Oh my god. But again, like, it just, the skull, like, seeing her skull, it was like, again, too much. And this is coming from, like, the first movie that literally had the woman sawed in half. That I thought was bad, but this was just because it kind of just kept going. It was just, like, I think it was, like, the time frame. Like, I think if it was a quick thing, I'd be like, whatever. But it was just, it was like one of those slow, painful deaths, and you're like, okay, I get it. Because that's how I felt the entire time. I was like, all right, stop. Like, I get it.
And I know you loved the little animatronic.
Oh my
the
god.
end of her on the bed, like,
Do you guys have any final words before we put Terrifier 2 on our tier list?
Terrifier 3, Thanksgiving movie. Terrifier 4, Christmas. That's all I need.
Oh yeah, also one more thing. Sunglasses. Sunflower sunglasses.
Where is this on your tier list, folks? Where are you guys putting this one?
S tier. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. It's A tier for me. What about you?
I would put Terrifier in A tier then. I think Terrifier 2 will be A tier for me.
What about you, Sabrina?
Okay, well now you explained it. I was just gonna put it in B, but I guess like A. Like I think I definitely have to rewatch it.
Don't let us pull your arm.
No, it was like if it was just like I enjoyed it, but it was like not my favorite. It would be B, but like the explaining, I was like I guess just A.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I still really liked it. Like I love art.
Okay.
I just
Yeah, no.
I think I just was very tired, so like, I think I just gotta rewatch it.
Right.
But like the way you talked about it beforehand, like and after to make me enjoy it more because of how much you love it.
I do love it, yeah.
And I've never seen you like this with like, any horror movie since we met. So I was like,
I know.
That made me like, I was like, okay. I was like, I gotta see this with him. Like, even though I wasn't crazy about how gory it was, even though I do love horror movies, I was like, all right. I was like, I want to see this with him because I know how much he just kept talking about it like every day. And I was like, I've never seen him like this with like any horror movie.
The gore is not for everyone.
Oh
I know
my god,
that.
it was the sweetest thing. I was like, oh my god, he loves this movie so much. So like, I really hope you get to meet Art the Clown so bad because like you love this movie.
I want to meet him in costume.
So I think this averaged out to an A for the crew. Terrifier 2 is A tier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely still one of my favorites of the year.
Yeah. So next is gonna be really interesting.
You were worried for nothing, Blake.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Smile next. Blake, take us away. What did you love about Smile?
Did you?
First of all,
Did you love Smile?
I loved Smile.
Okay.
I loved Smile. Yeah, it was the experience I discovered is what made me love it. Because like it was pretty overhyped, but I saw it at a really late showing with two friends in a fairly packed theater. All the jump scares hit. So
we were in an empty theater and I passed out.
Wait, no, was that the one where some other people were falling asleep? Is that the one where the old dude was snoring in the back?
Was he? I wouldn't know. I was asleep.
It might have been a different movie. There was some movie we saw the dude was. I think it was.
So are you saying you fall asleep at movies a lot, Jayla?
No, I don't. No. I have fallen asleep at 2 movies this year. One movie I loved. One.
Yeah, there's one that got me for a bit, and like I said, I don't always fall asleep during movies, so.
So, Blake, you love Smile. Tell us about your experience in the theater, though.
Yeah, it was a pretty packed theater, and halfway through the entire theater, we all kind of unanimously agreed, like, this movie's brutal. Like, it's getting us on all these scares, and what clinched it was after one of the better jump scares, this guy, like, just a couple seats down, leaned up, like, just shaking his head. He couldn't handle it anymore. He was like, oh my god. And I liked the ending. I thought the ending was like cool with the actual monster. It was cool. And then a couple months later, I watched it with Sabrina. The scares weren't necessarily like killing her when they came up, like that entire theater just adds to the experience. So I kind of like viewed it just like as a movie. The story it's telling, actually analyzing the scares, and I'm like, oh, it's.
He literally said it was like one of the scariest movies he's seen in so long, and I was like, the
It
entire
was
time I was sitting there like,
it was the first time in years I got home like, oh fuck, there's a dark hallway there,
I've
like
got
just turning around.
times where like we watched movies together, and like that's like screwed me up so bad that I was like checking every corner in my room, kind of thing.
Right.
That's not one of them. That is not one
Yeah.
of them. Like,
So-
the entire time I was like, okay, where's these scares? And like they would pop up, and like I was like a little like woo. But other than that, I was like,
Yeah,
it's just a dark.
it was
This
it
is
was
a very dark movie. Because it's like
Right.
a dark
I do
topic.
agree there.
It gives me Truth or Dare and Happy Death Day vibes. It's like that kind of movie.
Let's not be that mean.
Oh no!
It's not like Truth or Dare
Oh my
at all.
God.
No, I'm
The
not
only
saying
thing
like
is
the
similar is the
quality.
little
I'm saying
smile.
like that kind of like those kind of. I don't know the word to describe it, but like in my mind, I know what I'm talking about. It's not the quality.
Blumhouse movies.
Yes, that's what it was. Yes.
I feel like this movie had a really strong foundation. Don't get me wrong. I love when horror movies have a protagonist that's like fighting against the clock. I feel like that adds a lot of pressure. It adds a lot of tension built into the story. However, I feel like the ending really undermined the point they're trying to make about like, you know, reaching out for help, getting help for your trauma, you know, relying on your support system and things of that nature. And I feel like all the point or the point that the story is trying to make kind of fell apart at the end for the big scary ending, which my favorite part, it kind of contradicts itself because my favorite part was the ending when we saw the full monster, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, the ending wasn't satisfying for the story they built up.
My issue with this movie is an issue I have with a lot of horror movies in which there is something going on in a pattern.
A pattern, yeah.
This, like a monster or a killer
Or
does
curse.
the same thing over and over. But we see it from one protagonist perspective. So we see it from Sosie Bacon's point of view and this whole time. But I think for the protagonist, it should be, what we should be asking is, why does she matter? Why are we watching it from her perspective? And is she going to change the status quo? My big issue with these movies is when the protagonist is just another victim and nothing changes.
See, I really thought she was gonna survive, and then when she did, I was like,
I've never seen it put that way, but I think that sums up why the decision to end the movie how they did doesn't really help the movie at all. I think we were all
it's
kind
always
of
that kind of like curse. It kind of like a drag me to hell kind of concept. A little bit.
yeah. I think that was executed better.
But I love
No,
Drag Me
no,
to
no,
Hell.
no, no, wait, Jayla,
Jayla,
hear
over
me
here.
out.
Shut up! I
I
can't help
love
it.
Drag Me to Hell. That's like one of my favorite horror movies. That is not an insult. I'm saying like the curse thing, like, you know, her not beating it.
Yeah.
Like
I
literally,
get
that's
it.
the same thing that happened to her. Like you're convinced she beat it until the end, until she literally gets dragged down.
Spoiler for Drag Me to Hell that Kim hasn't seen yet.
I have.
Oh my god.
Well, I know she gets dragged to hell at the end. I saw the ending of that movie 12 years ago.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm just giving you. I'm giving you a little bit of help, Sabrina. You're fine. It's in the title, so we're good.
Yeah, this one's in the F tier for me. I'm sorry.
Oh wow!
I
Jeez.
was so bored during this movie, and
That's
I
fair
mean,
though.
it could have just been my state of mind, but like I was just so. I
The
was
marketing
so
was
bored,
very good
and
for this movie, so maybe like a little bit more, but other than that, it was like, yeah.
I'll put it in
Yeah.
D, I think. I wasn't overall satisfied with the story. However, I do like the premise. I do like the reveal of the monster. The whole grief, the whole thing with her mom that was revealed felt kind of just. It rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not sure why yet exactly, but I'll put it in D just for like. It had a few good jump scares, had a few good effective moments, but.
I love the reveal of the actual entity at the end, but I think that that the visual monster itself was so amazingly designed and so visually compelling that it made the rest of the movie feel like a massive waste.
Oh,
Because I thought the design on that thing at the end was so strong.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
the everything following up to that being just people smiling.
Mm-hmm.
Just
That's a
I
good
thought
point.
it wasn't the same level.
That's a really good point. I think I would have put this in S tier after the first viewing. Sabrina helped me kind of manage my feelings
Humble
on
yourself. Humble yourself.
it. Humbled myself, and I'm gonna commit to this tier, but I think I might go down one post this video. But I'm gonna put it at B tier because I did
Okay.
really enjoy it both times. But I still don't have a desire to ever watch it a third time. I think that says a lot, so I'm gonna commit to B.
Okay.
I might settle with C in the future, but B for now.
Okay, that's fair. Sabrina, where are you gonna put it on your tier?
See. I don't mean this in like a mean way when I say it. It's just like it's like when you tell me stuff, I'm like, because to me you're like a master in horror. So like when you hype something up, I'm like, okay, it's probably really good. And then like I watched it and I was like,
I've noticed I get excited with movies,
That's
and I
okay,
have to
that's okay.
have to give it time
Hey,
to let
hey.
it like marinate.
hey, but I think that goes for any kind of movie, not just horror. Because like
Yeah. No, I mean I was like that severely with Wakanda Forever.
I
thought
kind
it
of
was like
literally
top
I was
tier.
I was not even an Avatar fan until like a couple days ago, and I was like, oh my god, that's one of the best movies. And now I'm like, yeah, it was good, it was really good. But I'm like, I don't know, I think it was just like I was so amazed by the visuals and everything.
You went in knowing you hated the first movie. You had no
And I
expectations
was
for the second
severely
one, and it's
impressed.
actually a good movie.
Yeah.
So you were like, "What?"
I was like, oh god, okay.
You're like,
'Cause
"Oh
I
shit!"
saw that runtime and I was like, no way, man.
So I
You're
think
like, "No movie could justify this if it doesn't have Batman in it."
I'm just saying the Batman doesn't feel like 3 hours. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's okay, Sabrina. I always have you with me because I have my Batman popcorn tin on my desk.
Oh my
So
god,
I'm
that's
always
my probably my most prized possession right now of Batman.
That thing is so cool.
I think we're looking at a C or a D for Smile overall.
What is it? B, C, D, and F between all of us for?
2 Ds, a B, and an F. So that would be it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think D. I think the F kind of brings it down a lot.
Let's call it a D.
Let's call it a D. Up next is one that's going to be divisive. Pearl. We have Pearl, the surprise sequel to X, which I loved. Cam, what do you love about Pearl?
Okay, Pearl is S tier for me.
Wow. Wow. Okay, wow.
So as with Terrifier 2, for me, what I love is a good, strong central character. And to me, Pearl is that.
She had so many elements to her as far as her family, and she was just someone that had such a strong dream to go out and to live this certain kind of life. But she was also super naive, and she was also super sheltered, and there was a lot of tension there between her battling being who her parents expect her to be and who she wants to be.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, all of those points, and I think it's just so strong visually.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really restrained, and most throughout, to my memory, there's only 4 kills in it. I think the last one is particularly really strong. I think just that close up of that axe shot, I think that was so strong. Pearl is a character that I care about, someone I find interesting because she has these big hopes and these big dreams. She literally wants to be in the movies. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be in the movies, but I want to make movies. I find her interesting because she has these notions of being a big star, and ultimately those dreams are dashed upon the rocks, and then you see what those ideas of what your life is going to be when those fall through, what you can become, because we had seen X, back in March when that came out. And so we already had an understanding of where Pearl ends up. and just seeing her fleshed out as a young person redeemed X for me, because I didn't like X that much, and now I have just a way higher opinion of X, and I am really thrilled to see where they go with this trilogy.
Right. So for me, what I loved about Pearl, beyond the relatability that you mentioned and the visuals, it fleshed out X so well, and it was so cool seeing Ty West go into this trilogy with obviously with an idea. You know what I mean? We'll get more into this when we get to X, but I adored it. I watched it twice already, and there's just something about it, something about Pearl and how she is so she's empathetic. You know, you see her go through these struggles, and like obviously she goes to the extremes, but like at the end of the day, you feel for her. You feel for her seeking acceptance, wanting to be wanted, wanting to meet her goals, and to move past to the box that she feels stuck in. And I really admired that part of the story. But Blake, I know you don't like this movie, so take it away. What did you not like about Pearl?
Yeah, first of all, I'm not going to be mean to it. I know it's not a bad movie. It's personal taste. I'm going to put it in C tier.
Okay.
So I thought it was just okay when it comes to a movie, but I did like X. I think my opinion on X keeps going down a little bit. But when it comes to Pearl, it was far, in a way, a character study. It was about Pearl, like you said, her hopes and her dreams and what she wants to set out and accomplish. And I think that was the movie. It was a character study about this girl. It was more of a drama where horror took a very far away backseat. And just when it did come time to the kills, I didn't really feel them. Like the one that I felt was the or are we really getting into spoilers at all?
Yeah, no, go for it.
The mom. That was the one kill where I felt. I'm like, oh, this was earned. This was built up this entire movie. I feel this one coming. The other ones were just kind of there, and the story was fine. It was Pearl's character arc the entire time, but other than that, the movie kind of came and went for me. I knew how it was going to end for the most part, so I don't know. I was not wowed by Pearl, but Mia Goth's performance, I think, is why I give it a C, is because she was incredible and probably the biggest standout of the entire movie. She has a genuine 10-minute long monologue, not a marathon, monologue. I was so checked out by the time that came on. I was like, oh my God.
As a theater kid, I ate that up.
I know.
I was
Oh
like,
man.
fuck, man, how I don't have enough time. We gotta keep it moving. I didn't like the monologue.
You got C, S,
A.
A.
A minus?
We'll put it up in A. We'll call it an A minus.
Okay. Up next is Hulu Hellraiser. Give us your thoughts real quick. Give us your tier list. How are you feeling about it?
I only saw the first Hellraiser, and like I really liked that one a lot. Like really loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I never read the book or anything, but like I remember me and Blake were both talking about it, and Blake was telling me that it was like this is a more like this was supposed to be like a more accurate representation of like the actual book of Hellraiser, right? Is that what you're telling me? So like I don't know, I
It was
enjoyed
a
it.
mix of a couple books.
Oh, okay. Well, like more like who Hellraiser is.
More accurate, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean I haven't seen the rest of them, so like I don't know if there's like any other world building where it's like, oh, you know, or like references. I'm sure this was like a clean slate of everything, but I don't know. I like they're very interesting movies, but I feel like this one was just very like modernized, and it was like definitely so much different than like the original one that I saw. But I did like it. I did. I actually like. I wasn't bored. Like I enjoyed it a lot.
I liked it.
How do you feel?
Well, first of all, what tier do you put it in, Sabrina?
Like a B or C, maybe.
Blake, where would you rank?
A C. I'd give it a B. I would give it
Really?
B tier. I feel like that's where Sabrina wants to put it too.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah. That's a B. It's a B.
it's a B.
I feel like it dragged a bit in the beginning, but once things started going, I was really into it. I think I'm gonna put Hellraiser at a B.
B. Okay. So I have it at a C.
Damn.
That's a lot of B's.
Damn.
You call it
I'd say B.
B minus. B minus.
It's definitely a B minus.
Hmm.
I think it was fun, and I like how it looked, but I think it was a bit slow.
It was slow. I do agree.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
where I'm at with it, and I'm not a huge fan of the original Hellraiser, so I didn't have a lot of skin in the game. Is that what we say?
Nope.
Is that a racial thing? Okay. Sorry, I just like.
It's because of nope. I know.
No, it's because of no. It's.
I was just gonna say, you just
I
watched
was like,
Nope.
I was like, wait, that's a phrase I've heard people say,
We've
but
heard
like,
Kiki
wait,
Palmer say it
contextually-
so many times.
yeah, like,
That fucking trailer always played, didn't it?
What?
We got skin in the game.
We got skin in the game.
Who did?
Yeah, skin in the game.
Oh, right.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I've completely
okay,
derailed us.
I'm gonna dial it back a bit. But I don't really have strong feelings about the original Hellraiser, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I have much skin in the game.
I really, really liked where they took Hellraiser for this one. Personally, I don't know if you agree, Blake, but I like where they took it. I like the ideas they presented. I really do like where they took the Cenobites in this. I like the idea of, to them, they aren't doing wrong. To them, it truly is a gift, and it really plays on the idea of pain versus pleasure and like the difference between the two. And I like that a lot.
Pleasure
That's
in
why-
pain.
Yeah. Especially with when you have everything and you still seek more, what are you going to get? And I also like some of the body horror in it. But Blake, take us away. What are your thoughts on the Hulu Hellraiser?
I liked it. I think just what disappointed me is it didn't have like a lasting impression on me. Like I do like the original, and I was excited for a modern take on it because there's so many interesting things you can do with a concept like Hellraiser, and they delivered a straight to Hulu Hellraiser, I think, which like I'd still put it at B tier because I still think it's a pretty good movie, but I think there's a lot more they could have done with it. It was slow in parts. I think for the majority of the first act, I was like, "Where's this going? Like, how are we going to get to the meat of this?"
Yeah.
Do you think they added more to like the actual Cenobites though?
Yes and no, because I mean, the 90% of their screen time was like, "Oh, hey, where am I? Oh, there's a creepy guy around the corner." Cutaway. Like that was most of it until the final act where Pinhead was like, "Here's our purpose. Here's what we're gonna do for you." I'm like, "Oh shit, this is interesting." End of the movie. Well, damn, like that was the best part with all you. And when they're like on the road, and Pinhead's like, "Look, listen, we can help each other." Like there was a lot of good to this movie, but aside from the main character, sorry Sabrina, I think everyone else was kind of forgettable. They could have done more with the guy that had the contraption on his nerves and his back and shit. They could have fleshed him out a lot more.
God.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, that scene. Ugh. That scene put it in B alone. Just like the idea of having your nerves, all of your nerves. Oh God.
Yeah,
I can't think about nerves too much.
Yeah.
It freaks me out.
Yeah, it definitely freaked me out. When I see stuff like that, I'm like, oh, I'm like,
yeah, like you just want to imagine how that feels.
No, I would want to die completely.
Yeah. He was begging for it at that point. He was like, "Please kill me, please kill me."
I would be in the same boat, honestly. So, you know, like I said, it was great. It was great to see. Didn't make a big splash, but still, you know, they did a good job for what they were aiming for. I like to say.
By the way, there are a few movies on here or not on here, like Prey. I would call a horror movie.
How did we miss Prey?
We didn't put VHS
oh my
in
God,
there
we forgot VHS.
That's what we were missing. Because I was like, how is the first one Halloween Ends?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, put it in VHS. Wait.
VHS 99.
We're caught up on the VHSs. I think this one was better than the last one.
I like all of them.
Really?
Blake's not crazy about like one of them. I loved all of them so far.
I hated Viral. I didn't love the last one, but this newest one I liked.
They're all so good. I don't know. I really just I don't know. They're just like crazy to me. I don't know.
The last one, just a lot of the segments went on for way too long, and it took forever to get to the point.
What was this one?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, so if you're on the Wikipedia page for 99, because we needed a brief refresher, there's the word gangrenous, and it links, but we didn't click on it. We just kind of moused over it, and it shows a picture of a gangrenous foot.
Gross.
And
Oh, God.
jeez, oh Lord, that is disgusting. That is unpleasant.
They are losing their toes.
Okay.
I'm
Oh,
so sorry.
Gangrene is really bad, guys.
yep. To put it lightly.
So 99 was the punk rockers that were like going down to where the ladies died in the fire. Then it was the
That was a miss for me.
yeah, they didn't show the bits well enough. It was suicide bit. It was a sorority girl that was buried alive.
Ooh, I liked that one.
I like that one.
That was a good show of human cruelty, which for me is something that really bothers me a lot, which makes in turn makes effective horror for me, because I think with horror being the genre that evokes fear and dread, seeing how mean people can be to each other, seeing that represented in movies really gets to me. So that segment was good, effective horror for me, but I think overall VHS 99 was absolutely C tier for me.
Oh,
It's basically because of its anthology format for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you have 5 different short films jumbled together. For me, it's not a cohesive movie.
Yeah.
And my other criticism...
Yeah, I love that. Like, I love that they do that. And none of them are all connected. They're all different every time and creative.
That's why you like it. That's why he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
My other criticism of basically the whole series overall is I think they go way too hard on sound design, because their sound design is really flexing in this series, because it's found footage. So in theory, it'd be really quiet, really atmospheric, because you think you're sort of a voyeur here. You think you're just watching something that's actually happening. But when they have all the dramatic music and all the sound effects, it definitely takes away the whole realism factor for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't compare to how Paranormal Activity made me feel when I was a kid and those first came out. Those ones freaked me out because they seemed so real, even though nothing happens in those movies. I was like, oh.
For me, as someone who has been following VHS through its ups and downs, I also put it in C tier for different reasons. I feel like when it hits, but also
the lows are low.
yeah, when it doesn't hit, it just really misses its mark. We were saying for the first segment, they had these incredible designs for the antagonists of the story, but they don't show them long enough. Yeah. They have creative ideas, and it might be a time issue. I'm not sure. However, I do like a lot of the previous things that VHS have given us, but with this one, there are a lot of ups and downs. I'll still watch the next one, but yeah, it'll be C tier. What do you think, Sabrina?
B. I really like that. There's never been a one that I hated. Like, I don't know. I just think it's like...
She didn't finish Viral.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, it's one of those things, because Blake got me on them, and I was trying to watch it, and I was like, this is not hitting the same without watching it with you. So I was like, I'll just wait till whenever you want to watch it with me.
We'll watch Viral, and she'll see how it is.
I just told him to skip Viral. I was like,
I told her to skip Viral too, but I respect her, because even if I say, like, don't read this comic, don't watch this movie, she's like, I want to form my own opinion. And I'm like, you son of a bitch, I'm in. I love that.
Well, because it seems to be, I think I slowly do that because I end up liking stuff a lot of people hate. I don't know. I just like...
I hate it when people are easily swayed too, so I'm glad you form your own opinion.
No,
but I will suffer through Viral again for you.
Thank you.
That's so sweet. Dedication.
Thank you.
That's saying a lot, by the way. I will save us time on 99. I'll also put in C tier. and I don't think I have anything new to add to the debate.
3 C's and a B.
3 C's and a B. That's a C plus.
C
Yeah.
plus.
Final score for.
Good job, Sabrina. You gave it the plus.
So up next we have Barbarian.
Ba-ba.
Yeah, Barbarian. I want to clarify before we get into this. I've only seen it once. However, I was deeply disappointed in Barbarian. My tier list is going to be a D.
This was an F for me.
I give it a D. I'll tell you why I give it a D. I give it a
Oh
D
my
because I
God, what?
love the first segment. I love the first segment with Skarsgård. I loved the first bit of what they were building up. But however, going into it, everyone was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen in horror. This is like something I've never seen before.
I agree it's overhyped.
And then I saw it and I was like, I've seen this movie. I've seen X. I've seen Don't Breathe. I've seen a lot of the tropes in this movie. And the way it was overhyped really ruined it for me. But Blake, go ahead. Take us away.
Blake looked like he wanted to take me from a permanent special guest to a very temporary special guest.
You're fired.
He was like, what?
You're gone.
Get out.
I agree the first half, the one with Skarsgård, is the better half, for sure. That being said, it's such an entertaining movie, and just the Airbnb concept is so brilliant, and it's easy because so many people get Airbnbs, and I think so many things could go wrong with that. And there's so much potential for horror movies set with that kind of setting. And I like what they did. They throw you for a lot of twists and turns, and they gave me my monster satisfaction. Justin Long always makes movies better. And I like how they ended it.
You took my thing! Literally, you took my thing!
Exactly. And I put it in A tier because I think it was a solid horror movie. And the only reason it doesn't have S tier is because it goes down a couple routes that I think kind of detract from the main story. And if they just stuck with that Skarsgård bit the entire movie, S tier easily would have been.
If they would have done that, because like, the ideas they introduced in the beginning with Skarsgård were so interesting to me.
Yeah.
I understand why they killed him off first and why they cast him for that role. I get it. I love Scream. I know why they did it. Don't get me wrong. However, they really had a foundation. They could have made something truly unique, truly like stand out as far as like within the genre. But maybe I might get a lot of hate for this, but it felt kind of like generic, however, really well done generic. Generic with a budget.
Interesting. I'm gonna put that on a poster of Barbarian. Generic with a budget. Jayla 2022.
Because, like, how many times have we seen, scary old person, scary old naked lady?
Be careful, or what did you say at the end of our X review?
Spoiler.
Be careful of old people.
Watch out for old people.
Watch out for old people.
Some of the beats towards the end makes me think of Don't Breathe. Some of the beats in the end makes me think of X or The Visit, or like a lot of just things that I'm used to as someone part of the genre, and I wanted more from what people were saying. Not saying that it was poorly done, because it was a gorgeous movie. It was well done. The story itself left me wanting more.
That's fair.
I think it's 3 movies, basically. I think it's jumping all over the place. I think that they...
Oh!
Go ahead.
I just remembered. Ha 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 ha. So, I feel like we had the wrong focus on this movie. I don't think we should have focused on Justin Long. I feel like we should have focused on the basement and how she was doing.
I hate to say it, we spent too much time on a rapist.
It's
that simple.
Thank you. Like
it's that simple.
That's a point I was going to make, is that basically for too long we're focused on the Barbarian, which is, the naked old lady
who was a victim.
Yeah. And in the end, we really don't focus enough on, like, I just call him Joe Chill because he was Joe Chill in Batman Begins, but like Joe Chill was absolutely a monstrous person. To do to do what he did for all those years, and to have him just be basically a side plot,
Yeah,
a subplot.
a random scene.
What are you doing? And this,
Another point I want to make is this should have followed Tess more. Followed Tess in the basement as she learned and as we learned from her perspective what was going on. And I feel like it would have been more impactful if we got introduced to Justin Long's character through Tess and find out that he's a monster as well through her eyes
Mhm.
because of what they were introducing what scars are in the beginning. She learned all the rules and what's going on off screen and told us through dialogue instead of us experiencing it with her. And I feel like the anchor of the movie should have been Tess, and that's what made me so frustrated with the story.
yeah, he was the anchor the whole time. And by the end, despite how scummy he is, he's sort of like goofy and relatable.
He's
and
Justin Long.
He is Justin Long.
They
You
knew what
almost-
they were doing with the casting.
It's like you don't want him to get away with it, but like you still like him too much.
They excuse what he admitted to really easily.
I mean, he
Yeah.
got his karma, so it's fine.
The more
Yeah,
I think about it, the more it's
Listen, I know it's a movie that was painful to watch because I love Justin Long. When I found out he was in this movie, I was like, oh my god, my Scream King. That
I
sucks.
can't do it.
That sucks.
I know I was
Because
the
literally
D-tier,
Blake
but
the entire time.
I said he was a bad dude, and Sabrina's like, he can't be worse than his character in Tusk, and I was like,
oh, if
I
you
love
only
Justin.
knew.
That was awful.
I
to
was
watch.
like, yikes.
And Tusk, he was like a bad boyfriend,
He was
right?
kind of a douchebag.
Yeah.
But like
No,
in-
no,
He cheated on his
No,
girlfriend. That was
not
the
even
worst
that.
thing
He
he
was
did.
racist.
Really bad
He was
boyfriend.
racist. Not even just cheating on his girlfriend. He was literally racist and would like make fun of kids with like disabilities.
Was
for their
he?
podcast.
I don't even remember
he
that.
like got a kid to like
Honey, they had a
unalive
fucking Nazi
himself.
podcast.
What?
Yeah, because he like made fun of the kid on his
Oh,
podcast.
they were
Party.
doing like the Star Wars kid thing. They
Yeah.
were basically
They're
doing
literally
their own
podcast
version of
Nazi
Star Wars.
party. Like he was like very like
Yeah.
racist and like very white supremacy kind of guy.
Was he
Yeah.
racist too? Oh shit.
She's referring to the Nazi party thing.
No. There's more than that. Like when they would talk on their podcast, they would say very very racist things.
And Justin Long played like a good guy.
Yes.
Gal-
He was in there free to
Yes.
die
And Jeepers
hard.
Creepers.
I'm too old for this, Bruce Willis.
He's my Scream King anyway. So like anything with him,
I respect it.
I love.
I
I
respect
will literally watch.
What's your Barbarian tier, Sabrina?
Okay, you guys are all gonna get really mad at me.
Yeah, I gave it an A.
It's an A. It's like an A plus.
I gave it an A.
It's like an A plus because it's probably
Two
my
A's,
favorite.
two
It's probably my
F's.
favorite of the year.
That would probably.
That's
that
a
would-
solid C.
No,
That'd
because
put it
like
on a
you
C.
guys were all like, okay. The reason I was kind of like, because you're all like pointing out problems that are definitely like very,
A movies can have problems.
To be fair, Cam and I are the two people that didn't like this movie.
Well, I think the thing
Yeah.
is that because I kept hearing it, like, it was one of those movies that was definitely hyped, but, like, it definitely was, like, hyped for the good reason where I was like, okay, wow, that was really, really good. I like movies where I don't, because I like the fact that with Bill Skarsgård, I was like, oh, like, they put him in here because he's, always that kind of, like, creepy guy. That's where I thought they were going with that, and then when they went down in the basement and he died, I was like, what is this? I was like, what is happening in this movie? And then when the fucking naked old lady, like, monster thing came out, I was like, I would have never in a million years predicted this in this fucking movie. Like, anything that happened, and
I
that's
love that.
that's why I love that, because I never was like, oh, that's so basic. Oh, I saw that come. I did not see anything coming with that movie. That's why I loved it.
That
Yeah.
warmed my heart.
Oh my god, that was probably my favorite horror movie of the year. Cause like you got 2 Scream Kings.
Hey,
Bill
yeah, hold
Skarsgård,
on,
Justin
we're not-
Long, even though he was a piece
We
of
didn't
shit
get
in
to
the
the
movie.
summer yet.
What?
I said, hang on, we didn't even get to the summer yet. We got some bangers on the way.
Probably like an A plus for me, because I was just like, it was just something fresh and new to me, at least from what I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't seen like every horror movie like you and Blake have. So, like I said, I'm still relatively new. So to me, I was shocked and like taken back. And then like sometimes you're like, whether it's a horror movie or not, you'll see a concept and you're like, okay, I can see what happened. The entire time I was like looking at Blake, I was like, what is? The entire time, and I think I was left for like 20 minutes after, and I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? And I love that. I love that because I couldn't even like
Yeah.
make up what I felt because it just felt like a fever dream, but like in a good way. And I just love that.
Yeah. And before we move on, Cam brought it up in my head. I saw it with my friends, and the second the credits rolled, I always look at him for his reaction because he's pretty hard on movies. After like 5 seconds, he looks at me. He's like, "That was fucking Joe Chill," and I was like, like, I know that was all he was thinking about the second he saw it. Nothing else about the movie.
That's Joe Chill. That's something
like,
I would
"That's Joe
do.
Chill."
That's literally something I would do. I'm like, that's so and you're like, okay, what about the movie?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
You're like, oh.
Oops, I know this person.
I know I like totally took a big stinky dump on this movie, but I still love Justin Long.
I will watch anything with Justin. Like,
I
the
still
fact
love
that they,
Justin Long.
like I said, you can't do a horror movie without Justin. To me, he will always be the horror king in my eyes. Like if I think about it, it's like wholeheartedly, he's what really like turned me on to horror because Jeepers Creepers is my favorite horror movie of all time. So like
my horror king is still Bruce Campbell.
Oh, him too, of course. But like, it's just like Justin Long's been like in everything when you think about it.
I agree. I'm a bit of a simp for Evil Dead, so
Yeah, no, same. I get it. I would say like if we were talking about it, like definitely them two.
Those two together. Oh my god, could they be the movie?
I would die. I think I would like actually like combust.
There's another big horror movie that you didn't put on the list, and there's a reason you forgot about it.
Which one?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, please!
No.
I can't do
That was
it.
the first of the year.
No, we
I
can't talk about it. No.
I literally can't talk about this
Now
movie.
you sound like
One.
hard ass about it.
Oh my god!
Because I was thinking, I'm like, what would I put in F tier? What came out this year? And I was like,
I wish there's a movie. I wish there's a tier below F. I fucking despise Texas Chainsaw 22 so much. The gore was cool, but that couldn't save it for how dog shit the
Bad
story is and how they took a giant dump
on Sally.
Oh my god! Don't even.
I got her going with that one.
Jayla's like taking a shit on this movie. Okay, so I realized recently after that I thought I fully like years ago saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I didn't till recently with Blake. Didn't like it. Sorry, that's the conversation for another time. I wanted to so bad, and I'm actually upset that I didn't. But it's just like it's kind of some of the things.
But you loved the remake,
I
and
loved
that's
the
what
remake,
matters.
but like I would rewatch the original one like a billion times over instead of rewatching that movie ever again. Like I want to forget about that movie. Like if I could Men in Black myself like with that movie and like forget about it, I would.
Genuinely, I got Cam the original on Blu-ray for Christmas because like the original is just no one that's made this is a direct sequel to the first Texas Chainsaw has ever understood what made the first Texas Chainsaw effective. No one has ever understood all the elements of the first.
I mean,
Texas
I don't
Chainsaw
understand it, and I
Massacre.
saw the original one, so
I'm excited to see it for the first time.
I'm sorry. Again, I'm very upset. Like I don't know why it didn't vibe with it, but I just didn't. I don't know.
It's a soft spot for me. We'll get to it. Anyways.
Okay, so all around
F.
Texas Chainsaw 2022 is an F.
It's
right?
the biggest F.
Honestly, it's an insult to F because like I wish it was a lower.
It should be below F. Like
Negative
so
F. Negative.
Z doesn't even
like,
want it.
Z. That's like probably the worst.
I can't do
At
it.
the very bottom.
I wanted Blake. Why did you have to remind me?
I needed a movie to fit F tier, and I already put Allegoria there, but it was kind of lonely. So,
But up next we have The Invitation. I put it at a C.
I would also put The Invitation at a C. We're
low C.
We're the only two in the group that saw this one. We saw it in the theater and thought, "Oh, this is fun. This is okay." And then we rewatched it recently. We watched the unrated cut that is basically like the R-rated version that didn't get in the theater, and it has like a bit more violence, a bit more gore, just enough to make it like an R rating. And as far as story goes, there was nothing different. But ultimately, overall, Sony really pulled a Sony on this one and ruined the reveal and the marketing. I didn't really watch the trailers, so the reveal was fun for me. Jayla already knew what it was, but there is a reveal. I think it's fun, but ultimately, overall, this is a C tier movie.
Didn't you say it's like the trailer spoils like a lot?
Yeah, we know what the
Or like
twist
straight
is.
up tells you what it like the thing, and like spoiler alerts. So it's a vampire movie, right? However, the movie itself treats it like it's a big mystery until the last like 30 minutes.
It takes over an hour for the shit to hit the fan in this movie.
Yeah. No, I can't do it.
Is it even worth it when it does?
Maybe it's a D tier.
The first time, yes. The first time I watched it, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm into this. Sure. Because it starts out seeming paranormal, like maybe ghosts and demons, and I'm just not interested in that kind of stuff. But it becomes something different halfway through, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm into this. But then the second time watching it, knowing what comes, the first hour is such a drudge.
Yeah, for me going into it, that likes a specific kind of subgenre in horror, and for it to take so long, I was like, why are we beating around the bush with this? And then for them to not really fully execute or fully dive into it, I think I have to pull it down a tier now that I'm like fleshing out my thoughts. I think I'll have to be a D tier solely because like they didn't really take full advantage of the idea they like presented.
Mm-hmm. C minus.
C minus. What's next?
Orphan First Kill.
Orphan First Kill. Oh so my god! I'm gonna take it away. I think.
Take it away.
So Orphan First Kill. It is so ridiculous. I am not going to suggest this movie because of how great it is. It's just how we all know this woman is a grown woman, but they seriously let her play an 8-year-old to the point where whenever she's walking away, you clearly see like an adult woman's face and then an 8-year-old child. And it was so much fun. It was
so jarring.
It was so jarring, but it was so much fun. The reveal and the dynamic between her and the family, because like we all know the twist from the first Orphan, right? And the writers know that we know this twist, so they're like, "How can we make this interesting again?"
Oh my god, I know. The twist was like so done well that I was like shocked.
We looked at each other like,
what? I know, right? Like they really just like have fun with it, and I respect that.
It was a fun movie because of that.
I think the thing I would just randomly say it was worth the years of waiting, just for that.
I mean, who's waiting really? Like it just kind of came to us. No, you weren't.
Yeah,
you were not going 10 years like. You know, today would have been 100% perfect day.
No,
but,
ever since they announced it, I was waiting for it. Yeah.
No,
no, I'm serious. As soon as they announced it, because I really loved the first one.
Yeah, it was good.
The second they announced they were making a prequel, I was like, yes.
Yeah, you're like, I'm there day one.
Do not gaslight me.
That's not what gaslight is.
Doesn't matter. Okay, then don't call me a liar because I literally waited so long for this movie.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, I'm sorry. I would put it at a B personally because it's just it's dumb fun, and I love dumb fun. Sabrina, what's your tier, and what do you think about it?
Fucking S+ tier. Wait, she was been waiting for it.
She was waiting for Orphan.
She was waiting for. She was showing up at the theater every day, like, "Hey, tickets on sale yet? It hasn't even been announced, man."
Have they made it yet?
No, I just probably say like an A, like A+. I don't think I have anything that's like been like, oh my god, this entire like where it's an S tier yet.
I also have it in B tier.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It was pretty good.
All right, so that's a solid B from the last Scare crew.
Up next is one of my favorites. It's probably an S tier for me. Bodies. Oh, I will not say much because Bodies hinges on going in blind, in my opinion. Oh,
This is A tier for me.
Sabrina wanted to watch a horror movie tonight. Maybe we'll just watch that.
I'll just say what I love about this movie, and I love that it is it's a scathing satire of Gen Z. It has Lee Pace from Pushing Daisies. He was also Ronan in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I would say that I rank it so highly because it is a similar to how Scream is a love letter and also criticism. Bodies shows a lot of respect with its criticism and shows a lot of fun with its satire. It's just a fun ride.
Rachel Sennett is very funny in that movie.
It's not like you said Rachel.
Rachel.
I thought you said racial too.
I'm not gonna say racial again in this podcast.
Start again. And go.
Rachel Sennett and Pete Davidson are both very funny in this movie. I love a good black comedy, and that's what this is. It's not a slasher. It's a
bit of a slasher.
It's a black comedy whodunit.
Yeah, it's a slasher the same way Scream is a slasher.
But from Cam and Jayla, I think we're at an A+ with this one.
Prey. Let's just speed through Prey real quick. Prey for me is a B+, A-. I really loved it. I really loved it. I thought it was a really cool take on the Predator series.
B's too low for it. I'm sorry. I'm actually a little insulted and offended if it's at a B. I'm sorry. Oh my god, it's like one of my favorite films of this year.
The only reason that it's not an A for me is because I don't remember a lot of it. And I've watched it like 3 times. Could be my memory, not sure. However, I love what they did with the Predator series. I adore it. I adore stripping it down and bringing back that tension. I adore the story and the protagonist and what they did with that. I think it was a great move. I think it was a brilliant move. It just didn't really stick with me. So I don't think it'd be fair to put in A if I can't like sit here and be like, oh, this was great, this was great, this was great without watching a reminder. You know what I mean?
Now that's on the list. I've been waiting to talk about this.
I know you love this movie, Sabrina. Go ahead and take us away.
Sorry, I mean, I love Predator, and like I thought nothing could beat the first one, the OG one. This might be my all-time favorite because just his design, the story, the main character. I was trying to think of the word. Sorry, I'm just all over the place. Just everything about it. It was just like a new take, and like it kind of made me love the concept of like if in the future they do Predator through time. Like I think that's like could be like an amazing concept because we've never really seen like. So this was technically like their first real like encounter on Earth with a human, and like just oh my god, everything about it was just like the cinematography, the story. Oh my god, I'm gonna call her my final girl because she fucking kicked. And like I think the best part about it is because it pissed off so many people because it was a woman who.
That was so annoying.
She was like a Mary Sue, and I was like, no.
That
like,
I would argue with, I'm like, she's fought her entire life for this.
Also, like
she's been trained.
Oh my god, the action sequence when he takes all of the other like soldier guys down is probably like one of my favorite things in like film.
He threw a bear trap at someone's head.
Oh my god, and like that's probably my favorite Predator design.
And killed a bear in nearly one punch.
And I love the reveal of him because he was invisible until that moment, and then he got drenched in blood.
Like, oh
Split the bear open and just let the blood drain down.
That might have been like the best like reveal of Predator too. Like, and like just the skull mask design that he had. Oh my god, everything about him was so cool.
So is it S tier for you, Sabrina?
S tier. Literally my favorite Predator movie. Like one of my favorite movies of the year. Like. I remember I was watching it, and I hyped it up even to my dad. I was like, Dad, you have to watch this, like, now. Because I've been, like, a lifelong Predator fan of my life. Like, I don't hate any Predator movie. I'm sorry, but I don't. Blake knows this, even though he has some words about one of them.
Requiem.
Yeah. Actually, Requiem was my favorite before this.
Hey, I feel like I'd like that movie better if I could see anything that happened in that movie.
Okay. I just remember, like, as a kid, I loved that one because I saw it in theaters and everything, and, like, oh my god. That was, like, definitely my favorite as a kid and got me into, like, Alien and Predator. Like,
Yeah,
this
for sure.
one just, like, was just so fresh and new, and it just added so much to Predator's, like, mythos, and, like, oh my god. I need,
The Predator lore.
basically, I need, like, Predator all throughout time. Like, someone said, like, if they eventually do, like, a film with, like, him and, like, a samurai, and, like, oh my god, I would die. Like, I need more. I need more of him, like, through time. So bad. So
Yeah,
bad.
for sure. Blake,
You're like, yeah, it was good.
here.
I feel the same.
Blake, what's your tier?
I feel the same as Sabrina, but I do put it in A tier. And my only reason for that is, and it sucks because it's really not their fault. The first act is slow. Like, you have to introduce the Predator, you have to do a bunch of things. When really it's like, I know it's the Predator. He's invisible for the first act of the movie. You have to introduce the main character, her brother, this tribe, and like, I'm interested. But upon rewatch is where it's like, okay, just get to the Predator. Like, I just kind of want to skim through this. Um, and that's the only reason I put it at A tier. Everything else is fantastic, and that's my only gripe with the movie. Also, like, he's just kind of killing animals for the first act. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, bro, like, go after the assholes.
Well,
At
I mean,
least
it wasn't
I want to
like,
see you kill
like,
a
back
snake.
then he would just kill people to let people know that he was there.
Yeah, I mean, it was his first time on Earth, so he didn't know people yet, I guess. So he was just like, snake, squirrel.
He's like,
Oh
okay,
shit, there are these people
this
too.
thing, they're not fighting back. And he's like, here's my
Yeah.
message. Hey, I'm here.
Yeah. No, it was great. I do think it's the best Predator movie, though. I will stand by that.
Oh no, I do agree. Again, my tier is B for now. It might go up, just only because it didn't really have a lasting impact on me, if that makes sense.
No, that makes
That
sense.
upsets
That's how I
me.
felt about Hellraiser.
Yeah.
I'm a B plus as well. So I think overall that makes us like an
A minus.
A minus.
Yes. Okay.
This is a big one. It is a blockbuster horror. We have Nope. We have Nope next. Jordan Peele is back again. Guys, listen. I don't know.
She put her drink down.
I adore this movie. It's I know for a lot of people it's not exactly horror, but it brings a lot of feelings that Jaws brings
it
me.
is much horror as Jaws is. It's
Exactly.
more of an adventure movie with like the horror elements just overall. Like overall the whole thing.
It was very like horror adjacent and like but more like science fiction too.
Yeah. It's a sci-fi horror to me.
I mean, there's a scene that takes place at night where an alien drops blood all over this house. It's a horror movie.
Yeah, and you know, going off of that, Blake, spoiler alerts for Nope. Watching it for the second time and knowing in the beginning of the movie that you're not hearing an alien ship, but you're hearing people screeching. You're hearing people being crushed alive. Is like, oh, so much dread. I love this movie. It's an S tier for me. I'm sorry. I know for a lot of people this is not their favorite Jordan Peele movie, but not only did it make me feel like a lot of dread, but a lot of excitement, the spectacle of it, talking about it afterwards, the whole experience, and the reveal that, like, spoiler alert, the reveal that it's not aliens, but like the ship itself is the alien, and the idea that
it is that's it.
yeah, and did it come from the sea? Did it come from space? We don't know. And there's a lot of mirroring between Jupe's story and the alien and the idea of working on film sets with animals. And there's a lot of things going into it, a lot of spectacle going into it, and a lot of things that can break down. I love this movie. I thought it was a great experience. It's an S tier for me. Anyone, Cam, I know you don't like this movie as much as I did, but what is your thought? What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's an A tier movie. It's so, as you say, horror adjacent to me. It's a sci-fi thriller, and I love sci-fi thrillers. I like it. I said it was an A. I like it. I guess I just don't feel strongly about it.
I felt super strong about it. Obviously. Blake, how do you feel about Nope?
I would also put it in S tier. I
Yeah!
did love
Yeah!
this movie. Not my favorite Jordan Peele movie still, surprisingly. I am partial to Get Out. I really like that
Fair.
one. But and it's mostly because Nope, I agree with Cam, it just didn't quench that horror thirst. Like I said, it's sprinkled throughout the whole thing, but it's never the focal point. It's an adventure, sci-fi, thriller, fantasy, everything else. Um, but when it comes to characters like Jupe and OJ, like the most likable people that you could have in
Oh.
these days, the love for film crew, which they never get any love, and just it's unique. Like you never really see a horror movie go down this kind of an adventurous route. And I love that they screw with you. They show you this for most of it, and
Yeah!
then they're like, no, it's not a literal little green men kind of thing. It's an animal that is
Yeah!
As you could tell, he
hiding.
really loves the movie. Then I got him the Alien, even
Yes,
though I hate
I
that Alien.
I love that!
I love the movie so much. I actually saw that Universal, but it was like bolted in. You couldn't buy it, so Sabrina found it online, and I was like, but
That's awesome!
I
Oh
think
my
it's a movie that was analyzed for months plus. Like people are still discovering things about it. It's such a smart movie that it doesn't like hold your hand through any of it. Like, why is the shoe up? Rewatch the movie and figure
Oh,
it out because it won't tell you. You have to
yes.
figure that out.
That was the shoe debate. Oh my god.
The shoe debate and just the fact that this head is modeled off the cameras of Gordy's home or whatever.
Oh,
Just it's a genius. It's a brilliant movie. I love it.
I love it so much. Sabrina, did you get a chance to see Nope?
I actually didn't see it in theaters, but I did watch it before we went to Horror Nights because of they built Jupiter's Claim. So I don't want to be like
It came out on Blu-ray like the week she was here.
yeah.
Okay.
So I loved it. It's definitely one of my it was freaking brilliant. I would definitely put it in S tier. Definitely S tier. It's my favorite Jordan Peele movie. I'm very
Ooh.
indifferent. I don't like Get Out. I'm sorry. It's just I couldn't.
Ooh.
Blake
That's
hates me
another
for
topic
that.
for
Like
another
he
day.
literally hates me for that. And like I never fucked with it like everybody else. And then I enjoyed that more, but I was still very indifferent about it because it was just like I think the ending just like fucked me up because I was like, what the fuck? The entire time that it was basically like such a twist that I was like, it had me questioning everything. So that one I enjoyed, but yeah, Nope was just like such a step up, and also aliens freak me out. So anytime it could be like the worst movie ever, like the fact that it's an alien movie will already be like, okay, give me a good scare. So like when those little right, what's his name, Jupe, right?
Jupe.
Yeah, his like sons when I thought those were like the real aliens, and like I literally like freaked out because like anytime I see aliens in movies, it will always freak me out. The fact that it was the kids the whole time, I was like, okay. And then just everything about it was just so brilliant and like unique. And I don't know, it's just so good for horror. Like
It's an unnerving movie.
yeah,
I
very
think that's a
unsettling and
good word
unnerving
for it.
movie. And then like I think also what's so brilliant about it is like all the like little like Easter eggs that you have to, but it doesn't hold your hand in it, like Blake says, and like you can figure it out. And like it's one of those movies that you could still notice stuff like no matter how many times you've seen.
They
I
don't
love
even
that.
put it in the front and center, like with the cameras looking like the aliens. You got to rewatch it and be like, "Oh shit, the camera over
Yeah,
there
there was
looks
like
just
some
like the
things
alien."
that I think I was texting Blake and I was like, I think I'm kind of understanding this, but I was like, I need you to kind of not explain it to me, but kind of like confirm or deny if this is what I'm thinking. And then I was like, okay, because there's a couple things where I was like, all right, well, because they jumped around a little bit,
Yeah.
it does get a little like out of order, but I don't think that was a bad thing. I think it was just like also like it was like okay, this is what's going on, but it will make sense in the end, and it did. And like,
Yeah.
oh my god, Kiki Palmer also was so good in it. Like my girl, I love her. Freaking like,
She did
Yeah,
the Akira spot.
absolutely.
I grew up with Kiki.
Yeah.
Not
He was,
literally,
like, the
but
stand-up.
Wow, your
I,
breakfast at Kiki Palmer.
I grew up watching Kiki Palmer. That was
Yes.
really
Everybody
fun
was
to see
good, but
her
just
make a
Kiki
comeback.
Palmer, man, she's so good. I love her. I just love her in anything. She was definitely the standout for me. Her and definitely Stephen Young.
We got skin in the game.
What?
Skin in the game.
I got
Oh my
skin in
God.
the
Skin in the
or
game.
we got skin in the game.
I agree that I agree with it being my favorite Jordan Peele movie.
Mm-hmm.
That
Over Get Out.
Over Get Out, Us is another topic for another day.
Yeah, Nope is S tier for me. Blake, S tier. Sabrina, S tier. Cam.
I mean, I think collectively that makes Nope our highest ranking movie. It's in the S tier.
Not to put you on the spot.
It might be. I'm gonna hold my ground with an A minus.
That's fine.
But on average, for all of us,
It's not that far off, so I think that's also why.
So now we have come to Black Phone, which was one of our first episodes, actually, covering the movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass it on to Cam. Cam, what are your thoughts on Black Phone?
Black Phone is it's like a B minus for me. I really love Ethan Hawke. He's one of my favorite
Blake's face.
actors.
Just the.
I just think he's such a compelling actor for me, and I've watched so many of his interviews, and I just think he's a really thoughtful person. I think he's a thoughtful artist. Richard Linklater's Before trilogy is basically the big reason I love Ethan Hawke, and seeing him in this role, I think it was a good stretch because I've never seen him in such a villainous role as that. But having that mask on the whole time and knowing that it's my baby boy Ethan Hawke underneath really undermined how scary he should be because of all of the implications of what he is and what he does. I think he's supposed to be absolutely menacing. And I think for people who don't watch a lot of Ethan Hawke movies, maybe that worked for them. That was really the only reason that didn't work for me. I thought overall it still had really good tension, but also I was watching this movie like 20 feet away from a TV. I just felt very removed from it.
Yeah. Blake, what are your thoughts on Black Phone?
I put it in A tier. I love the Black Phone. I thought Ethan Hawke played a pretty memorable villain in terms of the grabber. I think he was pretty scary and one of the good examples of that slow build up to him because he doesn't really show up till the end of the first act. And I think his introduction was earned. The subplot with the child abuse made that movie very uncomfortable to watch. And everybody was just clenching up during that scene. And I went in knowing it was based on a short story by Stephen King's son. And this movie felt like a Stephen King story. Like it kind of had that tone or that vibe to it.
I didn't know going into it that it was actually based off a story by Stephen King's son, but throughout it, I was like, this feels like a Stephen King story. So
it was the bullying.
It was the bullying for me, so I definitely agree with you there, Blake.
And the abuse from a parent, that whole...
Just that very dark tone, like undertone. Yeah, that's definitely a Stephen King kind of...
And the only other thing I want to say is I think they nailed the supernatural aspects of this movie. It's hard to pull off because they don't tease anything really supernatural until like halfway through the movie. And I think they pull it off pretty well.
Sabrina.
I loved it. I would say like A tier too.
Awesome.
It was definitely, I think the thing that was probably like the most interesting concept, even though it was like really sad if you think about it, was like all the other kids he killed or like helping him slowly escape. Cause like that was very clever, but it was so sad. It was just, it's a very like, it's such a good like concept put together movie, but it, like in the for the undertone of it, like the abuse and like it being about like child abduction, like it's so sad. It's so sad. But I think the ending kind of like made it like a little bit better. Like it doesn't make it okay with the dad, but like the fact that the dad was like apologetic to both kids at the end, like knowing that like they're both safe. I was like, okay. I was like, that's his
right.
Like I like that redemption a lot because like that made it like definitely a lot better because I was like honestly I need this guy to like die because like I hate him. Like he's like the worst father ever. And then I don't know, it would be like moments where he would be like when the daughter and like the father had to, when she's like, oh, like I know you don't believe me with the visions and like everyone thinks I'm crazy, and they had like a moment where like he's like, okay, like all right, if like this is, and like he was driving her to help find like the house and everything, and I was like, okay, maybe he's getting better. And then like once he got the son back and like the two of them, and like he was like literally got on his knees like asking for their forgiveness, and I was like, okay, I was like that was done very well.
Right. No, I don't disagree with you at all. For me, I really enjoyed it. I loved how everything came together.
Oh.
The entire movie is setting up the dominoes, and then we watch them all fall into place during the final act. And I really dig that. I love Ethan Hawke.
Oh my god,
I
it's
feel
so
like
good.
everyone's performance throughout was so strong that it's definitely an A tier for me personally. I had a great time with it.
With I know like I guess I haven't seen like a bunch of Ethan Hawke like performances, but like the way he was as the grabber like unsettled me, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, I'm like actually like uncomfortable and scared of him. But he was so good, and like okay, so they also did a house for this, and like I think that made me like really, really like,
Universal Studios
oh my
Horror
god,
Night.
it was so good. Oh my god, the guy that they got for like the grabber, oh my god, looked just like Ethan Hawke with the mask on. It was like freaky. It was freaky.
So that gives us an average of
What was Blake's letter?
A.
Oh, let's go on A.
It's an A.
It's an A for the crew.
It's an A for the last scare crew.
All right, we are down to the final countdown. We have Mad God. I don't have much to say about Mad God, so I'll get my point out of the way real quick. I thought it was so gorgeous. Didn't have much of a story, but it was gorgeous. I love that. I love the visual experience it led. So A tier.
It's an A for me too. I would agree that it is lacking in story, and I'm okay with that. It feels more like a space you enter. It feels more like just a representation of the hell that is war and the whole nuclear holocaust of it. Just there was a lot of poop.
Okay, honestly, I'm just gonna say, like, I appreciate you actually. A part of me was just like the entire time you're saying that, I was like, you got all that from that movie, okay? Because I got nothing. I got nothing.
That is all I got from that movie though. The harshness of war. That's about it.
Really? I got nothing. I just was like, okay, this movie took all these years to make. It's cool looking. I fell asleep, so I don't know.
It was all style, no substance, in my opinion.
I fell asleep, so I don't mean that in an insult, but I just was like, I think I was just like, huh? And like, I think I fell asleep for 10 minutes and then like nothing really happened, so I mean.
She woke up like, what I miss? I'm like, absolutely nothing.
And I was like, oh, okay. It's just that I just feel like it's like one of those movies. It's like a mind movie, but not in a bad way. It's just like there's a lot to it, and like it's enough. It's enough. I would never watch that movie again. Okay, maybe. I don't think it was bad. There's nothing I got from it. I would never watch that again.
It was extremely impressive how they made that movie. It's all stop motion.
Yeah, that's
insane.
cool, but it's just like it was boring to me. There wasn't a lot to it.
I love you, Sabrina.
I'm sorry. I know.
No, I love you. No, seriously. I love that you're really dedicated to your opinion. That's great. No, unironically.
Like, I wish I liked it more. I just, like, I don't know. I guess maybe I don't, like, really know a lot about stop motion. I've never really seen a lot of stop motion stuff. Like, it was cool. Definitely, like, you could see, like, it was really, like, thought out and, like, put together. But just, like, I don't know. The entire time I was just like, what's going on? I couldn't really figure out what was going on for most of the time, so I don't know. It was nothing that stuck with me. It was just, it was a movie that I saw. It was a movie that I saw with Blake, and then I fell asleep for 10 minutes. So I don't have a lot to say.
It's a D tier for Blake.
I mean, like, I don't think it was bad, so maybe I'll bump it up to a D. I'll be nice. I don't think
That's
it was
probably
bad.
a C.
No, I don't think it was bad. I would say maybe a D then. Yeah, you know what? I'll go up and be a little nicer because, like, I didn't hate it or anything. Like, it wasn't like, oh my god, I really didn't like. I just, didn't get a lot.
You say D, Sabrina?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like F is being too harsh. So yeah, it's a D.
Okay. All right.
So what is it? Balance out as
C.
C.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Up next, the movie that we saw that was on HBO. I introduced you to it, right?
You hadn't seen it either.
Yeah.
You were like, oh, let's see what this is, and we experienced it for the first time together, and it was a time. I'm gonna go ahead and say that for me, this is an S tier movie.
Ooh.
And here's why. Why? Voice crack. Here's why. There are no jump scares, and there is no there's like a little bit of sort of gory stuff, but there's no overt violence in this movie, and it is one of the most unsettling, disturbing, upsetting movies that I have seen as an adult. It is about sort of the horrors of growing up online, and it for me, it's so real, and all the subtext of what it's about, it just made me think about a lot of things. And I know it sounds like I'm being vague, but I really just want you to kind of experience this one for yourselves. But I'll tell a little story about when we watched it. So like I said, there's no jump scares in this movie, but a large part of this movie is Skype conversations between a teenage girl and like a middle-aged man, and he doesn't show his face to her, but his avatar is this like creepy pasta icon. And basically the surround sound at my house is a little janky, and sometimes when you have the volume at sort of a moderate level, every now and then it'll decide to just be a little silly and glitch, and it will go into a very high volume of just static white noise. And at one point in the movie, it's just switching back and forth between the visual of the girl and the guy's spooky icon. But at one point, the second it switches to the guy's icon, my surround sound did the thing at 1 a.m. late at night when we're in a dark room, where it goes extremely loud, showing this creepy image. And what I thought was happening in the movie was that the guy disconnects from Skype, and it just makes this horribly loud sound. And this was like an hour into the movie, and I had been kind of bored and frustrated up to that point. But when this happened, I jumped like I haven't jumped since I saw Paranormal Activity as a kid. And I turned it off. And I aggressively said, fuck this movie. And I turned it off. And we didn't finish the movie that night. And it really just, it got to me. It got to me in my core. And I had a hard time going to sleep that night. The next morning, I started like Googling and going on Reddit about this movie. And I Googled, we're all going to the World's Fair jump scares, and everyone said there's no jump scares in this movie. It was like, what are you talking about? There was a really big one. And it was that next day that I figured out, oh, my surround sound is really messed up.
Oh my god.
So anyway, that is the kind of atmosphere that this movie creates, to where, for me personally, any sort of external stimulus was enough to just like put me on edge. How do you rank this movie?
I'm so sold after the story. I really want to see the pasta avatar.
For me, this movie gets really personal because I was really into the online community that our main character is in this story. The creepypasta community, the rituals, the urban legends are passed on, and like I haven't really mentioned to you since I've rewatched it, but it's such a deeply personal story, and it's really sad overall. And I really
it's so sad. It is not a feel-good movie whatsoever, and that is why it's one of the best horror movies I've ever seen.
I felt so connected to the main character, and it was so unique with the way they decided to go about this kind of subject matter, because they could have done jump scare filled. They could have made it to where like this is a thing that's like super real and like she's demonic and possessed by the end. but they go so subtle with it, and that's what got under my skin. And I honestly, it's so unique and stand out. I think that's an S tier for me too.
S tier. We're all going to the World's Fair is S tier.
It's a very personal story. It's very low key. It's something that's very quiet and subtle, and something that we don't see in horror a lot. And for that reason, and for the reason that it's so dedicated to being its own thing, it has to be an S tier for me.
Awesome.
So I just realized something, by the way, that we also forgot a movie, but I think it's also like the fact that I forgot it because of how much I hated it.
What movie?
Do you know, Blake, what I'm talking about? Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
No, I haven't.
I have not seen. I'm gonna watch
the first one.
Well, how did you feel about? Okay, so I haven't seen any Jeepers Creepers. I know Justin Long's your boy, and I'm gonna ask you guys sometimes about like all of your favorite horror movies, so I can watch.
That
them
is
all.
My favorite horror movie of all time.
Okay, cool.
So like he's been around since 2000, like the 2000s, and like I think I'm slowly realizing it might be because the director is a very, 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 very not a good dude. Like the first two are like two of the best horror movies of all time. The third one like got TV release and like no everybody boycotted it because he's like the director's a really, 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 really bad person. So like to the point like I felt like I didn't watch the third one until recently, and like I didn't want to go in the theater to watch it, or I'm not theater because it was a direct I think it was sci-fi. It was a sci-fi original. That one, this new one made the third one actually enjoyable. And like that, when I tell you, like, I've never, you know how we reacted to Texas Chainsaw? That's how I feel about Jeepers Creepers Reborn. When I found out they were making this movie, I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, they're bringing back my favorite horror icon. I love Creeper. Like, finally a modern take. And I remember seeing the trailer. We watched it on the stream, and I was like, I don't care what anyone says. I'm so excited. That movie punched me in the face and insulted me in every and called me every name in the book. Like, it just, as a fan, till this day, I'm still very, like, visibly so upset. I've never felt more upset as a horror, like, because, like I said, I love those movies, and I love The Creeper, and, like, it's just such a bad movie. It is literally one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and it hurts me because I love The Creeper, and I wanted more from it, and, like,
it was a very bad, poorly made movie.
It's just, like, they know nothing about The Creeper. It's a totally different Creeper. It's just everything about it's just I was very, very disappointed, and like it's just upsetting, and like I kind of want to punch the person in the face that made it. I'm not gonna lie, not to get violent. I want them to try again after this, but with a completely different director and different direction. I just want him to be like among Jason and Michael, like he can be.
Yeah,
but he's not always like that, and that's what's upsetting to me because he's been around for so long, but he's never fully considered on like one of the top horror icons. Not giving away anything prior to this movie about Creeper, but I will tell you one thing that is not with him. He is not part of a cult. They made him into a cult. Like behind a cult.
They Michael Myers him?
Yes. Very bad.
Ugh. It was bad.
The only good thing
it was pretty bad.
The only thing I could say about it was the design was cool for him. Everything else was like shit. It was like absolute garbage.
I guess it's an F tier for us.
It's an F.
It's an easy F tier.
I don't know if you're going to feel much better about this next movie, but it's a movie that I feel like is worth your time, and it's X. West brought us X, a love letter to Texas Chainsaw. For me, what I loved about X so much, horror in general has been a genre that's very like shamey, if you get what I mean. Shout out to Randy's breakdown of the horror rules in the first Scream. X is a foil to that. X is a foil to a lot of society's shame amongst people, especially during the 70s, and I really, really admired that. I would put it in a high A for me personally. Blake, I know X was our first review we ever did together. So what do you think about it?
Well, it has gone down, in my opinion, over time. Not significantly. I just, upon rewatch, I'm like, not a ton sticks out to me. I think it's a breath of fresh air when it comes to slashers, and I like the ode to 70s slashers, but it does take half the movie to like set up the premise and the characters and the story and Pearl and all that. So I do put in the same tier as Pearl. I put in C tier,
Wow.
but I do prefer it to Pearl. I think it's like
Okay.
in C tier I give it a C plus, Pearl C minus, probably.
Okay.
Hated it. Hated it.
Okay. That's fair. Where you put it?
Probably enough. I don't think it's like
Probably
it's just everything I don't like in horror movies. When I've like I've kind of explained it on here, but I feel like Cam doesn't always know. Doesn't know, like, something I don't like in horror is like that overly like sexual like weirdness, and like that kind of gave me that from X. Like that's why I don't like the it's kind of like what I didn't like in the rebooted Evil Dead. It's like that kind of concept. I don't know. It wasn't for me, and like it's one of those things when everyone else loves it and like you don't like it, you're like, what is wrong with you? Or it's like, am I not seeing it? Like I don't know. It made me feel weird because I was like, everybody. It just made me uncomfortable, a lot, and like I couldn't really like. I like to be a goth, but I just couldn't enjoy it. Blake thinks I'll like Pearl more than X, so hopefully I can see Pearl soon.
Kim, do you have any? What's your ranking, and like wrap us up on X?
For me, X is it's B tier. I thought it was sort of a straightforward slasher movie. Okay, the first time I watched it, that's how I felt. I felt that it leaned into a lot of tropes that have been around in the genre. I just didn't feel that it was particularly inventive until Pearl came out, and I sort of saw more of who Pearl was, and sort of came to understand more of what her intentions were in the movie X, seeing how jealous and upset she was that she didn't lead the life she wanted, just made her a more interesting villain for me.
No, I agree. I also love the reveal of Mia Goth playing Pearl.
Yeah,
which I didn't know until afterwards. Yeah,
I didn't know that either. I think
great.
that's like probably one of the craziest things about the movie, because you're like, oh wow,
Yeah,
it's her.
it's the time that Ty West knows what he's doing, and I can't wait for Maxine next year. But we'll get to that in an upcoming video.
I enjoyed Jenna Ortega in it too. I know she
Absolutely.
was good. That like iconic scream.
2022 was a big year for horror,
Yeah.
and it all started with Scream 5.
Yeah.
I don't want to go first for this one. So, Blake, take us away with 5 Cream.
I liked 5 Cream. You know, it was the first Scream post Wes Craven passing, which I think all of us were like, how are they going to handle this one? I think they did a good job. Probably my third favorite Scream movie. I prefer the first one. I prefer 4. That might be my hot take. And,
no, I agree.
And then Scream 5, because it was a good movie. It was a good Scream movie too, which I think is the important part. I think it did lose the charm that the franchise has kept up with this whole time. The characters were good. The people they chose for the killers were fine. People act like kind of the reveal of one in particular was insane, and I'm like, it's insane no matter what when a character just pulls out a gun and shoots someone in the head mid-sentence. Like,
no,
the most brilliant twist of all time. I'm like, relax. The reveal was fine.
No, it's just, I love it as a reaction video now. No.
Yeah, the reaction's funny. I love Huey in the... So he's pretty whack in this movie. But it was good. I put it in B tier. I think it was a pretty good movie. It didn't break any barriers. Jayla's stressing because I know she put it lower than a B. But I liked it. I am fearful for Scream 6. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna rip the Band-Aid off here. I love Scream.
She hates this movie.
He's
Look,
like,
listen.
just rip off the Band-Aid already.
She's like, by the way, she hates it.
We've been here for 2.5
Scream
hours.
is
Tell us you hate
why I love horror movies. It's Scream. I've seen horror movies before. I saw the first Scream, but Scream is why I love horror. And the more I think about Scream 5,
The more angry
the more I put it into a C tier. And it breaks my heart to say that, but there's spoilers for Scream 5, just my entire take on it. I'm gonna put it out there right now. It breaks my heart that they kill Dewey, a legacy character, and he does not affect the story. No one talks about how the rules are changing. No one mentions it really. It was just a reason to bring Sydney back. I feel like Scream 4 pushes the story and the idea of the franchise more than Scream 5.
Oh yeah.
Scream 5 kind of like doesn't really do much. It just kind of like happens. I am more hopeful for Scream 6 than I think you are, because I feel like the creators and the writers and directors don't feel as held back as they did with Scream 5, probably. Maybe I am being optimistic, but with the teaser we got recently, I'm really hoping that they actually sink their teeth into the ideas that they're bringing forward with the script and the story, like Scream 4 did, and the idea of fame and posting everything online and live streaming all parts of your life. Scream 5 feels like they didn't really comment on a lot of what's going on currently, and it feels like Scream 4 could have been made now. Really. And rip my boy Dewey. I was really disappointed. Anyways, Cam, what'd you feel about it? How'd you feel about it?
It's a low C for me, because I just really feel that this franchise is not growing up. I feel it's not reinventing itself in any way. I feel this movie's commentary on a requel was misinformed and inaccurate, because Scream 5 is not a requel. It's a sequel. It's
a
just
legacy sequel.
It's a legacy sequel, and like, I'll make this tangent quick. Sorry, guys. A requel is a reboot and a sequel, meaning it's a sequel to one of the previous movies, but
not all of them.
Yeah, it retcons previous movies.
Texas Chainsaw 2022 is a requel.
Halloween 2018 is the shining example of what a requel is. It's a sequel to a previous installment that ignores other installments. Scream is just a sequel. Five Cream is just a sequel. And slash rant. And sorry, I'm going to move on.
I'm sorry for laughing.
Anyway,
I've heard this rant so many times.
We've argued about this one.
I see your way finally. Like he has like made it a point to get his his argument clear, and I can't disagree with it.
The next one's called Scream 6. It's just another sequel.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
It's a C. I enjoy this franchise. I just don't care about this movie. I just don't care.
It hurt me more than it hurt you, I think, because
probably
you
had skin in the game.
It took me a while to criticize this movie as how much I wanted to love this movie. It took me so long to actually sit down and be like, there's issues, there's things I don't like, because Scream is so close to my heart. But like, I watched it for the first time since theaters, which speaks for itself, doesn't it?
It hurts when you get disappointed by one of your favorite movies, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I can't. 5 Cream. There's a C coming from the gal that loves Scream, and it breaks my heart. Sabrina, what are your thoughts?
I'd say like a B or C. I enjoyed it. Like I think you made a good point. Like it didn't fully add like a lot of new reinventing things to like the lore. It was just like another like sequel for the most part.
It didn't bring anything new to the table, nor did it progress our characters.
Except for the fact that Billy has like a daughter, like a alleged daughter.
Yeah, we all feel weird about that, right? How she was talking to Billy and having hallucinations.
That was weird.
Like,
that was very weird.
Once
That
you
was a
get over
choice.
the gimmick of seeing Billy again since the first movie, it's like, why the fuck is he here? Does he need to be
Or
here?
like was like
Why?
why did you have to make her? Well, no, I think
We
the
got
thing
the other
is like
one.
not that it's like a horrible decision, but like why did you have to make her his daughter? Why can't you just be like I don't know. Like
Don't go all the way back to the first one until the last
like
one.
he's
Like,
been
sure, go
no,
back
but
to the original
I
one,
think
you're ending the
it's
series.
crazy
point.
because he's been dead for so long. It's like okay, like where the fuck did this come from? It's like oh, he's a alleged daughter. Like really,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm no screenwriter, but I feel like they could have like made Sam an important character in a different way than making her Billy's secret daughter.
I think I do have to say like I wouldn't say it's like completely shocking, but I definitely wasn't seeing one of the killers who ended up being. I was
Yeah,
like, oh shit, okay, didn't see that
I'll
one.
give him that much. Sitting in the theater, seeing Billy again, I was like, oh my god, it's Billy. But then when I think about it, I'm like,
What the fuck are you doing
Well,
here?
it's one of those things that
Exactly.
like when they make a movie that it's like for the sequels they want to get like old fans to come see it. It's like that nostalgic market.
Nostalgia hate.
yeah.
Yeah,
Over under. Are they going to completely drop the Billy thing next movie?
because like I don't know, probably not. I mean, like
Look, if they do, then that just kind of makes Scream 5 make it look laughable, and if they don't, it's just going to annoy me again. So it's kind of a lose-lose.
I kind of hope they drop it. Just say that she's on her meds again. She's fine.
She's on her meds. She's taking her medicine. She's fine these days.
She's fine. Like, I don't know, her boyfriend switched them out for sugar pills to, like, bother her. But now she's fine.
that's
It's
insane.
okay.
That was insane.
Oh my god, Scream 6 can be a requel. It can retcon 4 and 5.
Oh my god.
Very cool.
It can.
Sorry.
I like
No,
four.
I thought 4
listen,
was
give
fun.
Cam
Like-
credit. He's trying to make you feel a little bit better about 5.
No, 4 was totally fine and passable. I just know that it was like generally unpopular, so like they would.
Because they're
retcon.
losers.
I don't remember
I'm
anything
kidding.
from 4.
4's good. It has
We're wrong.
Hayden Panettiere.
Yes,
Everybody
Robert.
loved Kirby.
and
She's back.
Kirby's coming back from Scream 4.
In 6, yeah.
Yeah, but the main character's not.
2 C's, 2 B's.
Oh,
Sabrina was kind of teetering between B and C, so I think you could call it a C.
Okay, C. We'll give it a C plus.
and we made it. We've gone over most of the horror movies in 2022.
Except Allegoria, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Fuck those movies.
I went
We've
over
gone
it.
over the most-
I went over it.
You definitely went over it. Yes, you did.
Go watch it.
We've gone over the most important horror movies of 2022.
What about Men?
Oh, Men did come out this year.
We can put that in D tier. That's fine.
Men's an F for me.
Only D tier because it had some scenes I genuinely loved, but
I just
overall-
get so frustrated thinking about it that I can't do it anymore.
yeah, no. Men sucked.
It really did.
Oh my god, Blake, you forgot Morbius.
We watched the first
And
half,
Multiverse of
and then
Madness.
a few weeks later, we watched the post-credit scenes.
Did we really watch the first half? I feel like we got like 15 minutes into it before we
We
watched that
We
70
got-
show.
We got so bored.
Like I said, we've made it through 2022, ups and downs and all, but it was such a huge year for horror, and soon we'll go over 2023, which has the potential to be an even bigger year. But it's been great. It's our first year doing this together, and it's been wonderful, and I can't wait to see what next year brings. So thank you guys for watching us, for sticking with us through this year, and have a great new year, and I hope you had a happy holidays, and we will see you very, very soon.
Have a happy holiday.
That was so creepy.
He's a baby to horror, just like Sabrina.